Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. After Mariah's rejection, do Tessa and Daniel share a kiss in Boston? After Mariah Copeland rejects her wife, Tessa Porter and Daniel Romalotti might kiss while in Boston. Dealing with Mariah's PTSD following a disastrous work trip has put Tessa through weeks of upcycling. Tessa relied on Daniel amid her marital crisis after Mariah left her and their daughter, Mariah Copeland Porter, soon after the event. While out on business with Cassidy Mariah got wasted at a hotel, met an older man called Will Hensley, and the two became close that evening. They were actually spotted getting pretty close at the bar before making their way to one of the rooms. However, it's unclear what transpired after that. The good news is that Will is still alive, despite Mariah's admission that she attempted to choke him. The man was scared and checked out swiftly in the middle of the night, but he was still alive, according to the hotel personnel. Tessa remarked about how much she missed her wife this week, and Mariah went to a facility in Boston for therapy. Daniel, her new best friend, had agreed to go with her when she made the decision to visit her. Tessa is unaware that Daniel has affections for her, but it is obvious that he has. Through their guitar lessons, they have become close, and he has supported Tessa through the breakdown of her marriage. Nevertheless, Daniel's intents to support are sincere because he is well aware that Tessa doesn't like him like that and that she is still in love with Mariah. He appreciates, cares about, and admires Tessa's strength. All Daniel wants is to support Tessa so she doesn't have to face things alone. In addition, he did guarantee Mariah that he would protect her and Teriah. However, Mariah is unlikely to want to see her wife when Tessa and Daniel travel to Boston. Why would things change now when Mariah has consistently pushed Tessa away during this entire process? It's not difficult to picture Tessa arriving at the Boston clinic with great anticipation to see Mariah, only to have her wife snap at her and send her packing. She might also inform Tessa that their marriage is over and cannot be saved. Mariah traveled to Boston in order to recover, and Tessa's unannounced arrival could compromise these attempts. Additionally, it goes above the limits Mariah set. Tessa may become exposed and vulnerable as a result of the hurt of rejection and the fact that her marriage is legally terminated. She will rely on Daniel, but may she lean in for a kiss while he is praising her and giving her words of encouragement? Would a lip lock allow the two to share a romantic moment in Boston? According to previews for The Young and the Restless, it wouldn't be shocking if Mariah and Tessa broke up, but Tessa later got back together with Daniel and Mariah returned from Boston prepared to try again at marriage. In the Thursday, October 9th episode, Phyllis Summers expressed anxiety that Daniel might be harmed, seemingly hinting at future issues in this romance. After Mariah's heartbreaking rejection, the emotional walls begin to crumble around Tessa Porter, leading to a Boston confrontation that could redefine everything: her marriage, her faith in love, and her friendship with Daniel Romalotti. What happens next could change the lives of these three forever. For weeks, Tessa has been hanging on by a thread. Her wife, Mariah Copeland, has been spiraling since that traumatic work trip that left her not only physically shaken but emotionally shattered. The details remain murky, but what's been revealed is enough to haunt anyone. Mariah, overwhelmed and disconnected, drank too much during a late-night business meeting and ended up entangled in a disturbing encounter with a man named Will Hensley. The whispers in Genoa City painted a troubling picture: the flirtation at the bar, the walk toward the hotel room, and Mariah's tearful confession that she'd snapped when Will got too close. She admitted to trying to choke him before coming to her senses. Thankfully, Will lived to tell the tale, but the damage was done. Mariah's sense of self imploded. Her guilt consumed her. She couldn't sleep, couldn't face Tessa, and couldn't bear to be around their daughter, Teriah. In her mind, she was a danger to the people she loved most. So, she fled. She left Genoa City for a rehabilitation facility in Boston, needing to heal from her trauma, and perhaps, in her heart, thinking Tessa deserved better. For Tessa, though, the abandonment has been excruciating. She spent sleepless nights alone in their apartment, the silence echoing with Teriah's cries and the ghosts of promises once made. She's poured herself into her music, upcycling songs of heartbreak into melodies of quiet desperation. But no song can fill the void Mariah left behind. And that's where Daniel comes in. Daniel Romalotti has quietly been Tessa's anchor in the storm. Their connection began simply, two artists bonding over shared creative struggles. But as the cracks in Tessa's marriage deepened, Daniel became more than a friend. He became her confidant, her collaborator, and the one person who never judged her for loving someone as complicated as Mariah. Their late-night jam sessions grew longer. Their conversations stretched into the early hours, full of laughter, pain, and reflection. And though Daniel has long buried his own romantic scars, something in Tessa's vulnerability reignited a tenderness he hadn't felt in years. Still, Daniel has remained honorable. He knows Tessa loves Mariah, and that love, even fractured, is sacred ground. He swore to himself, and to Phyllis, who's already warned him not to get in too deep, that he'd never cross a line. But hearts don't always follow the rules. Now, as the two prepare to travel to Boston together, that line grows blurrier by the hour. The trip begins innocently enough. Tessa insists on going, even though Mariah told her not to. She can't stand the thought of her wife struggling alone in some cold, sterile clinic, surrounded by strangers. Daniel offers to go with her, for moral support, he says, though his real motive is to ensure Tessa doesn't break apart if things go wrong. The car ride is quiet at first, filled with the kind of unspoken tension that makes every word feel too loud. But as the miles pass, they talk. About Aria. About the old days. About forgiveness, both giving and receiving it. Daniel listens as Tessa confesses how scared she is. How she can't eat, can't write, can't breathe without thinking about Mariah. He assures her that no matter what happens, she's not alone. You've got people who love you, he says softly, his hand brushing hers. Tessa smiles faintly, not realizing the electricity that lingers in that fleeting touch. When they arrive in Boston, the air feels heavy with anticipation. Tessa's heart races as they enter the facility. The nurse at the front desk looks hesitant when she gives Mariah's name, a hint that maybe the visit won't go as planned. Minutes later, a counselor emerges, explaining that Mariah isn't ready for visitors. Tessa pleads, tears in her eyes, until the counselor finally agrees to ask. After a tense wait, Mariah appears. Her eyes are red-rimmed, her face pale, her body trembling with both fear and fury. She looks at Tessa as though she's seeing a ghost. Tessa, you shouldn't be here. Tessa takes a hesitant step forward. I had to see you. I needed to know you're okay. I'm not, Mariah replies, her voice cracking. I'm not okay, and I can't be around you right now. You remind me of what I almost lost. The words hit Tessa like a blow. What you almost lost? Mariah, I've been losing you every day since you left. Mariah shakes her head. Don't you get it? I'm trying to fix myself before I destroy us completely. You showing up here, she swallows hard, it just makes it harder. Please, go home. Take care of Aria. Forget about me until I'm better. If I ever get better. That's when the final crack forms. Tessa's tears fall freely now. Are you saying it's over? Mariah looks away, unable to meet her gaze. I don't know. Maybe it's for the best. The silence between them stretches endlessly. Finally, Mariah turns and walks back toward her room without another word. The door shuts, and just like that, Tessa's hope collapses. Outside the clinic, the wind bites at her cheeks as she struggles to breathe. Daniel finds her sitting on a bench, shaking. Without a word, he sits beside her. She doesn't want me, Tessa whispers. I thought love could survive anything, but maybe I was wrong. Daniel's voice is gentle but firm. You weren't wrong to believe in love. You were brave to fight for it. She laughs bitterly. Doesn't feel brave. Feels pathetic. He turns to her, his eyes full of compassion. Tessa, you've been through hell and still showed up. That's not pathetic, that's strength. His hand brushes away a tear from her cheek, and for the first time, she doesn't flinch. Their eyes lock, the world narrowing until it's just them, two broken souls trying to find light in the wreckage. Daniel's heart pounds. He wants to pull her close, to tell her that she deserves peace, that she deserves someone who stays. But he hesitates. He remembers Mariah. He remembers his own promise. He starts to pull back, only for Tessa to lean forward. It's a soft kiss. Barely a whisper of lips, tentative and trembling. A spark of comfort, not passion. But the moment it happens, both of them know they've crossed a line. Tessa pulls away first, her face pale. Daniel. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. He shakes his head quickly. Hey, it's okay. You're hurting. We both are. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. But they can't. The memory hangs between them, charged and unspoken, as they walk back to their car. The drive back to the hotel is suffocatingly silent. Tessa stares out the window, clutching her wedding ring, her mind spinning. Later that night, she knocks on Daniel's door. Thank you, she says softly. For being here. For everything. Daniel smiles faintly. You don't have to thank me. I promised Mariah I'd look out for you. I meant it. I know, she replies. That's what makes you dangerous. He looks puzzled, but she doesn't elaborate. Instead, she leaves him standing there, the door clicking shut between them, another fragile barrier barely holding back the flood of emotion. Back in Genoa City, whispers begin to circulate. Phyllis, ever the meddling mother, senses something is off the moment Daniel calls her from Boston. His voice is strained, his answers too vague. She warns him again not to get attached, but Daniel's silence speaks volumes. He insists nothing happened, but Phyllis isn't convinced. Meanwhile, at the Boston facility, Mariah can't sleep. Her therapist's words echo in her head, that healing requires honesty, that love isn't something to be buried but faced. Deep down, she knows pushing Tessa away was a mistake. But she also knows she's not ready to face her yet. Still, the image of Tessa crying outside the clinic refuses to leave her mind. In the coming weeks, as Mariah works through her trauma, Tessa and Daniel's moment of weakness threatens to follow them home. Will Mariah find out? Will Tessa confess? Or will this stolen kiss become a secret buried beneath layers of guilt and longing? The Young and the Restless seems to be setting the stage for a complicated triangle that tests loyalty, forgiveness, and desire. Fans have long rooted for Teriah, but heartbreak changes people, and sometimes, the person who helps pick up the pieces ends up holding your heart. One thing is certain, Boston won't just be remembered as the city where Mariah tried to heal, it'll be the city where everything changed. As previews tease, Phyllis's growing concern for Daniel's emotional state could be the first clue that this story is far from over. If Mariah returns ready to fight for her marriage, she may find her wife's heart isn't entirely hers anymore. But if Tessa realizes the kiss was nothing more than a fleeting comfort, Daniel could be left shattered, having lost not just a chance at love but his best friend too. In the end, whether Tessa and Daniel's Boston kiss becomes the spark of something new or the mistake they'll both regret, one truth stands unshaken: love in Genoa City is never simple, never safe, and never forgotten. In the aftermath of that fragile, stolen kiss in Boston, everything between Tessa Porter and Daniel Romalotti changes, though neither of them can admit it out loud. The next morning, they wake up in separate hotel rooms, both haunted by what happened and what it might mean. Tessa stares at her reflection in the mirror, brushing her fingers across her lips as if trying to erase the moment, to convince herself that it never happened. But deep down, she knows she crossed a line. It wasn't a passionate kiss, it was desperate, raw, and full of pain. Still, it meant something, and that realization terrifies her. Daniel, meanwhile, sits at the edge of his bed, strumming his guitar absently, lost in thought. He replays the scene in his head over and over, the look in Tessa's eyes, the soft tremble in her voice, the way she pulled back almost immediately, guilt written across her face. He hadn't planned it. He'd promised himself that no matter how close they got, he would never betray her trust, or Mariah's. But when she leaned in, he hadn't moved away. Part of him wanted to give her comfort, even if it was wrong. Another part of him, one that he's ashamed to acknowledge, wanted to know what it felt like to be loved by someone like her, even for just one fleeting moment. When they meet for breakfast in the hotel lobby, the air between them is thick with awkward silence. Tessa avoids his eyes, sipping her coffee with trembling hands. Daniel, trying to act normal, makes small talk about the drive back to Genoa City. So, he says, his voice cautious, we should probably hit the road soon. Long drive ahead. Yeah, she replies softly. Let's go. That's all they say. The drive back is a quiet storm of emotions. The autumn scenery outside blurs past, but neither of them truly sees it. Tessa's mind keeps replaying Mariah's words, maybe it's for the best. It's a sentence that echoes through her bones, hollowing her out. She thought their love was unbreakable, that they'd faced too much together to ever truly fall apart. But now she wonders if she's been fooling herself. Daniel glances at her from time to time, seeing the pain written all over her face. He wants to reach out, to hold her hand and tell her that everything will be okay, but he knows he can't. Not after what happened. Not when she's still wearing her wedding ring. Instead, he focuses on the road and the rhythmic hum of the tires, pretending that silence can somehow fix what words cannot. When they finally reach Genoa City, the tension between them hasn't eased, it's just settled, like dust over something broken. Daniel drops Tessa off at her apartment, and the moment feels strangely final. Thanks for everything, she says, forcing a small smile. Anytime, he replies. You know I'm always here for you. She nods, opening the car door. I know. And that's what scares me. The words hit him like a knife, and before he can respond, she's gone. Over the following days, Tessa throws herself into work. She spends long hours at the recording studio, avoiding calls from Sharon, Devon, and even Noah. Everyone's worried about her, but she can't face anyone. Every song she writes sounds like a confession, melancholy verses about loss, betrayal, and the fragile hope that maybe, somehow, forgiveness is possible. But at night, the guilt keeps her awake. She can still feel the weight of Daniel's lips against hers, still see the look of compassion in his eyes when Mariah pushed her away. That look was what broke her. It wasn't lust, it wasn't manipulation. It was pure kindness. The kind that makes you feel seen when the rest of the world turns its back. Meanwhile, Daniel is dealing with his own inner turmoil. He tells himself it was just a moment of weakness, that he'd been comforting a friend who needed it. But Phyllis Summers knows her son too well. The minute she sees him at Crimson Lights, she knows something's wrong. Danny, she says, narrowing her eyes. What happened in Boston? He almost chokes on his coffee. Nothing. Why? Because you look like a man carrying a secret, she replies. And trust me, I've seen that look before, on your father, on yourself, and on me. He shakes his head. Mom, it's not what you think. Then what is it? She presses. You told me you were going there to support Tessa. Did something happen with Mariah? Daniel exhales slowly, staring down at the table. Mariah doesn't want to see her. She told Tessa their marriage might be over. Phyllis frowns. That's awful. But that doesn't explain why you look like you're the one who just got dumped. He hesitates before saying quietly, because I might have crossed a line. Phyllis's eyes widen. Daniel. It wasn't planned, he rushes to say. She was heartbroken, and I was just trying to be there for her. But then she leaned in, and Phyllis cuts him off. Oh my God. You kissed her? He rubs his forehead. She kissed me. Or maybe I kissed her. I don't even know anymore. It just happened. Phyllis groans, leaning back in her chair. You realize how bad this looks, right? Mariah's dealing with trauma, Tessa's falling apart, and now you're in the middle of it? You're about to make yourself the villain in someone else's love story. I know, Daniel mutters. That's why I can't tell anyone. Especially not Tessa. I don't want her to feel worse than she already does. But word travels fast in Genoa City, and secrets have a way of crawling out from under the rug. Devon notices that Tessa's distracted during a recording session. He asks